Rocky, we're back from a break, mate. We've had a week to think about some betting. I know you boys had a crack at an NRL multi last week. We'll get into that in a sec. But this week on the Snapshot, I'm just going to preview all 4 games with you. We're going to start on Thursday night with the Cats taking on the Power. Geelong's midfield has been criticised over the last 6 weeks for being a little bit too slow. And we know how good Port's midfield is. So this is going to be a very fascinating matchup. Port are the top tackling side in the comp. Do you think Geelong has the pressure to match the Power?
I don't think so. Remember earlier in the season when Port Adelaide went over there to Geelong, got the job done pretty convincingly, particularly in that first quarter. I think Port Adelaide's midfield's strong, ability to live in the front half. Geelong, you can never write them off. You know how good they are, their ability to hit the scoreboard, Jeremy Cameron in that front half. But Port Adelaide's midfield for me is going to be the difference in this game, their ability to get in their front half. Butters, Rosie, Horne-Francis, Wines, Drew. You'd imagine Drew will probably go to Dangerfield. Dangerfield's still their number one midfielder. Boak, Burgoyne, these guys. I think that they bat a lot deeper, Port Adelaide, through that midfield and more consistently. Their impact as well, those guys can go forward. So I'm leaning towards Port Adelaide in that one, particularly around their midfield and then their ability for the footy to live in their front half.
You're a Port Adelaide man. Is this the most confident you've been in the Power in the last, 5 or so years that they've been in contention?
Yeah, it certainly is. It came after the win against Fremantle. I truly believe then that they're just gritty and tough wins, like their ability to win those close ones and find a way to win games of footy. We've seen when they're at their absolute best, when they blew Sydney off the park. Sydney may have been under par as well, but their best is certainly good enough, but their ability to win the hard, tough contests at the moment, I think that's what finals footy's about, and they've been able to do that over the last few weeks.
Talking about hard contests, Friday night for mine is going to be the game of the first week of the finals. The Hawks taking on the Dogs. This is a game that is very tough to predict. 2 very tough teams. The Hawks are feisty, so are the Dogs. 2 informed teams as well. Look, I know this is a little bit of a spoiler looking ahead to our multi, and you fancied the Bont to kick 2+ goals on infinite numbers of occasions over the last, 10 weeks or so. Do you think he's going to be more in that forward kind of role, or will the Dogs have him closer to the midfield to try and combat the likes of Warple, Newcombe, Impey? Hawthorn's midfield is firing at the moment.
Yeah, they will. I think he'll play predominantly as a midfielder, but at some point I think he'll drift forward. I think he's the one player that can break this game open for the Western Bulldogs, so Hawthorn are going to put some time and attention into him. There's no doubting that. You got Liberatore as the in and under that can get it done, Treloar, these guys, depending which way they go, McRae, etc. So I think Bont will spend predominantly time in the midfield, but I think he'll pinch it forward as well. Hawthorn, they're in as good as form as anyone in the competition. They beat Port Adelaide. They don't cough up that lead. They finish in second position. It's a crazy year. They're finishing 7th. Their big tick is that they play the G as good as anyone. They've played there, seen it numerous times this season, where the Dogs, they've only been there twice. They've played more games at Adelaide Oval, believe it or not, than the MCG this year. So I think it's going to be a ripping contest. I don't think that goes against the Western Bulldogs, though. I think they're in good form. We've seen what they did against the Giants. They had that hiccup maybe 3 weeks ago against the Adelaide Crows, but since then, they've been really good as well. It's going to be a ripping contest and literally a flip of the coin, depending which way it goes. Hawthorn started so fast a couple of weeks ago against the Tigers. If they start like that, get the Dogs on the back foot. But I'm leaning towards the Western Bulldogs. I think their best is as good as anyone in the competition.
You're breaking my heart as a Hawthorn, mate. Let's fast forward to Saturday. We've got another battle of the bridge between the Giants and the Swans. 2 sides that have gotten off to slow starts over the last couple of months. They don't tend to play a good first quarter. The Swans rank quite low in terms of tackling and pressure, have struggled to win the clearances at times. Which way are you leaning in this one?
I think the Swans have been the best team in the competition, but it would not surprise for the Giants to win. They've had the wood over them in finals. Sydney's been able to beat them a couple of times this year. I think Parker is a big plus for the Sydney Swans in that front half, just a different element, ability to pinch it through the midfield as well. I think they rested Heaney. I think they'll be in full flight, the Swans. They'll be up and about for this game. Giants, again, they're best, and you touched on it. They started a bit slow. They did it against Brisbane a couple of weeks ago and then just got got back into the arm wrestle and worked over the top of Brisbane on their home deck, which the second half of the year has been really, really hard challenge to do. So I don't think the Giants have anything to lose going to the SCG. They'll be up and about for the contest. It'll be I think this is probably the second best game of the round behind that Friday night. But gee, I know I'm going all the favourites here, but I think Sydney will get it done, but with not a great deal of confidence. It would not surprise if the Giants come out and won that by 4 or 5 goals.
I almost feel like GWS losing to the Dogs in the final round might be a good thing. It just takes a little bit of that pressure away, given they were on that long winning streak. All right, let's wrap it up, though. The final game, Saturday night. We saw this one last year in the prelim. Lions taking on the Blues. The last 2 games between these two sides have been interesting. The Blues got out to that hot start in the prelim. The Lions came back. And then the roles were sort of reversed back in round 0 to start this season. Carlton's injuries, we know a lot about that. Does this game basically come down to Brisbane kicking straight in front of goal?
Round 0. How stupid is that? Does that sound? It does. I think Brisbane will be full of confidence. I know they've lost their last couple, but not their last couple. They lost a couple leading in. They beat Essendon. That was one of the worst games of footy I've ever seen. So I think they could turn up their best. They've probably been the form team in the second half of the year. The Lions, we know they've coughed up a couple, but if they're accurate in front of goal, they'll be hard to stop. The guys like Bailey and these guys, Charlie Cameron, they're the two in the front half that can break this game open. Carlton, they're hard to get a read on. If they have 8 changes, who knows what will happen. I don't think they'll have 8 changes. I think they'll limit it to 3 or 4. I think you see the tall timber come back in. Doherty's a huge risk. I probably wouldn't play him, but again, it doesn't matter who starts fast because we've seen the last 2 times you can get in an arm wrestle. But Brisbane, the shortest priced of the weekend favourites, I think they get the job done on their home deck. I think they'll be up and about for this. Their midfield is super strong. Again, it comes down, and this is across a few of the games on the weekend. Port Adelaide are inaccurate in front of goal. The Dogs are inaccurate in front of goal, and the Lions are inaccurate in front of goal. If those 3 teams are inaccurate, they'll all lose. But I think Brisbane will have enough opportunities in this game in their front half to kick a score, and their defence is pretty sound at the moment.
No, you're very right there. This finals definitely has 3 or 4 teams that have struggled to kick straight for the entire season, so it does make or break their chances. Let's look ahead to the multi, though. You boys got stuck into some rugby league, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't rooting against you last week because the rugby league show hasn't got a single multi up all year, and to be honest, we haven't really gone close on most weeks. Gerald can't tip his way out of a boat. It came down to the Wars and the Sharks in that final leg, and Sean Johnson delivered some magic. Were you pretty gutted by that?
Yeah, we were. We touched on it at the top of the show. Lynchy, you're obviously in the group chat. He was smoking the cigar at halftime, and Manly was a risk on Friday night. I tipped them after a bad performance. They were outsiders against the Dogs, got it done pretty easy. And then I think the Panthers, Dill took the Panthers at the line, and we're sitting there having our coffee Saturday morning thinking, how easy is this? Maybe we'll just go to the NRL show next year. And then Lynchy, he said half time it'll be all over. The Sharks will cover the line, which they had. They'd covered the line, but unfortunately there was another 40 minutes of footy to go, and they stopped hard, and we got rolled.
Oh, well, up the Wars, as they say.
You were genuinely cheering against us in that group chat. Quite incredible.
I had to, mate. I'm the NRL boy now. I've got to root for my team. Let's look ahead to some AFL, though. I'm going with the Power to cover against the Giants on Thursday night. Sorry, not against the Giants, against the Cats on Thursday night. I tend to agree with everything you said. I think the Power at home, that's just probably the easiest pick of the week. And then I've gone the alternate line in the Battle of the Bridge. I like the Giants to cover plus 17.5 against the Swans. You've gone player markets.
Yeah, I have gone player markets. Again, Ollie Wines, 25 plus. I think he'll get his hands dirty. Loves these big games, physical contests. I think he'll get it done. And Bontempelli on Friday night to kick 2 plus. I think he'll get the job done. My multi here says the Giants plus 11.5, so we might have to check the final odds there as well.
No, I think it was 11.5. Correction. Yeah, you're the man in charge here, mate. You've got it all in front of you. At least one of us is organised. What price are we getting for this one?
Multi that up, you get $12.98, and that'd be a nice way to kick off September for us.
Oh, mate, we need to get another one home, at least before the season ends. Thank you, Rocky. Good chat as always, mate.
Nah, good on you, Ryan.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website